There's something strange about watching a character you've loved for decades return to the screen and realizing something feels off. You can't always put it into words at first. You're excited, you're hopeful, but deep down, there's this quiet hesitation. Like maybe this version of the story isn't going to be the one you needed. From the very first frame, you want to believe in it. You want the weight of the past to mean something. You want the scars of the Clone Wars and the fall of the Jedi to shape every choice Obi-Wan makes. But instead, the show keeps pulling you in different directions. It gives you glimpses of brilliance, then buries them under clunky scenes and awkward pacing. You see Ewan McGregor doing everything he can to hold it all together. He brings heart, pain, subtlety, but the story doesn't always support him. There's too much noise, too many distractions, not enough space to let the emotions land. And when the show should be sitting with silence, it rushes into chaos instead. It's frustrating because you know how powerful this story could have been. The premise had all the right ingredients. A fallen Jedi, haunted by failure, forced to confront the past he tried to bury. But instead of leaning into that raw emotion, the show keeps backing away from it, like it's afraid to get too real. And that disconnect hits harder than you'd expect. Because Obi-Wan deserves better. The character, the actor, the fans, everyone came into this hoping for something thoughtful, something human. And while there are moments that shine, they never fully come together. The story stutters when it should soar. In this video, we're diving into what went wrong with Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll break down the structural flaws, the tonal issues, and the missed opportunities that held this show back. We'll talk about the moments that worked, the ones that didn't, and why this series felt like a brilliant character trapped in a story that never figured out what it wanted to be. When the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was first announced, fans were buzzing with excitement. Ewan McGregor coming back to the role that defined a generation. A story set in that perfect gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. On paper, it sounded like a dream project. The emotional weight was already baked in. We were finally going to see the aftermath of Order 66 through Obi-Wan's eyes. His guilt, his isolation, his struggle to find purpose in a broken galaxy. The potential for depth was enormous. You could feel the anticipation growing with every teaser and interview. It felt like this was going to be something special, and for a moment, it really seemed like it might be. The first glimpses of Obi-Wan living in the shadows had that quiet sadness we expected. Seeing him watch over Luke from a distance, working menial jobs, and hiding his identity, that was the hook. That was the story we signed up for. But then, slowly, cracks started to show. The pacing felt off. The tone wobbled between gritty and goofy. Characters came and went without leaving any real impression. And even though Obi-Wan himself was solid, the world around him didn't always support the story he was trying to tell. So you're left wondering how something with so much promise ended up feeling so uneven. And that's what makes this show so hard to talk about. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. It's stuck in that frustrating middle ground where you can see the greatness just under the surface. The most aggravating thing about the Kenobi series is how often it undermines itself. Moments that should hit hard end up feeling rushed or awkward. Emotional scenes are cut short or drowned out by strange blocking and strange choices. It's like the show didn't trust the power of its own material. You've got Ewan McGregor giving it everything: subtle expressions, wary tone, emotional vulnerability, and then he's shoved into a chase scene with a 10-year-old, where the villains get outsmarted by tree branches. That kind of stuff breaks immersion instantly. It pulls you right out of the drama, and it happens more than once. There are sequences where the camera just sits there, missing the most impactful angles. Action that feels flat because the choreography lacks rhythm. The music tries to swell but doesn't match the mood. It's not one thing, it's a collection of small decisions that add up. Even with major moments like the Vader duel, there are issues. Some of the dialogue feels stiff. The editing cuts away too quickly. You want to sit in the moment and let the tension breathe, but the show keeps rushing to the next beat. It's like it's afraid to slow down and let the drama sink in. There's a real sadness to what the Kenobi show could have been. This was our chance to really explore the heartbreak of a fallen Jedi. To see a man crushed by failure, haunted by the loss of his brother, trying to make peace with a galaxy that no longer needs him. That kind of story doesn't come around often, and Ewan was ready for it. You can tell. In the quiet moments you can feel the weight he's carrying. When he looks off into the distance or hesitates before speaking. That's Obi-Wan. That's the man who once stood at the height of the Jedi, and now hides in a cave. The pain is there. It just needed more time to breathe. But the show doesn't always give him that space. Instead, it keeps pulling focus onto side quests, clunky exposition, and characters that don't get enough development to matter. Every time we get close to something profound, the momentum shifts, and the deeper themes get brushed aside. We're told Obi-Wan is broken, but we don't always feel it. Not because Ewan doesn't deliver, but because the story doesn't let those feelings land. The trauma is referenced, but not explored. The guilt is acknowledged, but never truly unpacked. And by the end, the emotional payoff doesn't hit as hard as it should. For all its flaws, one thing is undeniably, McGregor brought everything he had to this role. You can see it in his eyes, his posture, even the smallest inflection in his voice. This isn't just an actor revisiting a fan-favorite character. This is someone stepping back into the skin of a broken man and making it feel real. There's a quiet strength in how he plays Obi-Wan. He doesn't need big speeches or flashy moments. He just needs a moment of silence, a glance, a whisper, and it's enough to make you feel everything. That's a rare skill. And it's what kept this series grounded, even when the rest of it stumbled. And when the story finally lets him unleash, when the Jedi finally comes out of hiding, you feel it. There's something powerful about watching a fallen hero rise again. Not because the choreography is flashy, but because you've seen what it cost him to get here. That's what makes the final confrontation with Vader so emotional. It's not just about lightsabers, it's about closure, about confronting the past, and realizing some wounds never fully heal. Ewan sells every bit of it. And in those moments, you remember why Obi-Wan is one of the greatest characters in Star Wars. Not because he's perfect, but because he carries so much pain with quiet grace. And that's what makes parts of this show so awe-inspiring. Because despite all the missteps, there are scenes where the character shines through, where the performance cuts through the noise, and for a second, it feels like Star Wars again. Even with everything that went wrong, this show still has value. It proves that audiences care deeply about character-driven stories, that we're willing to invest in quiet moments, internal conflict, and slow emotional arcs. If they're done right, they can hit harder than any explosion or battle. And it shows that actors like Ewan are more than capable of carrying a narrative like this. He doesn't need constant action to hold our attention. Just strong writing, clear direction, and room to explore the role. Give him a good script, and he'll give you something unforgettable. There's also hope in the reception. Fans were vocal about what didn't work, but they also championed what did. That kind of feedback matters. It helps shape what comes next. Because Star Wars isn't going away. And if future creators take those lessons seriously, there's a lot of room to grow. Imagine what a tighter, more focused Obi-Wan story could look like. Fewer distractions, deeper emotional beats, and more trust in the audience's ability to connect without being spoon-fed. The potential is still there. It just needs the right hands to bring it to life. So even if this chapter didn't fully land, it opened the door for better stories down the road. Stories that could finally give this character the masterpiece he deserves. At the end of the day, Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't fail because it lacked effort. It failed because it forgot what made this character special in the first place. It tried to be too many things at once. A chase thriller, a reunion drama, a redemption arc. And in doing that, it lost its focus. The tragedy isn't that it was unwatchable, that it was forgettable in all the ways that matter. A character like Obi-Wan deserved a story with weight, with purpose, with silence between the words. Instead, we got rushed plotlines, awkward scenes, and moments that felt like missed chances more than milestones. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because fans waited years for this. Not for spectacle, but for something raw and honest. Something that would show the scars of war and the struggle to find hope again. That story was within reach, but it kept slipping through the cracks. Still, buried beneath all the noise, there's a great story struggling to be heard. You can feel it under the surface. In the way Ewan plays every scene like it matters. In the rare moments where the show slows down and breathes. In the flickers of something honest, trying to push through the clutter. But the truth is, brilliance alone isn't enough. Not when the story surrounding it keeps getting in its way. And that's why Obi-Wan Kenobi remains a brilliant character, trapped in a show that never quite knew how to carry him. Thank you for watching the whole video. I make videos because of my love for Star Wars and Marvel. I've been asked countless times how I get my subtitles, and I generate them automatically with a tool I built. That same tool can be used here on my website. It's completely free and doesn't require signing up. My website contains the subtitle generator that is perfect for any video. Blogging post, where you can sign up with your email and receive notifications for when I post, and also my 3 channels. Critical Analysis Hub focuses on Star Wars and Marvel movies. Critical Analysis Hub Plus looks at Star Wars and Marvel shows. And Critical Analysis Hub XP centers on video games, like The Last of Us series, Jedi Survivor, and GTA 5. Thank you for being a fan.